Bob Iger is on his way out the door as Disney CEO, so the hunt for a new one, it's just getting started.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast and consider becoming a channel member. Bob Iger has been the Disney CEO for a number of years now. He actually left the position, though he stayed on as chairman of the board, and they brought on Bob Chapek to be the new CEO, and he made a number of changes, including firing some very suspect people. Well, Iger didn't really like that. So he basically forced Chapek out and he took back over. He was only supposed to stay for 2 years, but ended up staying for 5, I believe, is the final tally. Iger is finally being forced out by the Disney board, especially after several missteps and box office flops, not to mention the failure of Disney Plus, which was Iger's baby. With him gone, who's going to step up? This is according to piratesandprincesses.net. Disney is prepping for another pivotal leadership transition as longtime CEO Bob Iger plans to retire, this time permanently, in December 2026. Iger has guided Disney for most of the last 20 years, briefly stepping away once before ultimately returning to steady the company through challenging times, that he created, by the way. Now he's assured that he's ready to pass the baton. His reluctance last time led to stories of conflict with his successor, Bob Chapek. Though internal candidates have not officially auditioned for the role, recent public appearances by key Disney executives have placed the spotlight squarely on possible successors. Entertainment co-chair Dana Walden recently addressed investors at a Morgan Stanley conference, emphasizing the profitability of Disney's streaming service, an effort to address concerns about her experience with Wall Street. Similarly, Josh D'Amaro, chairman of Disney Parks Experience and Products, appeared at South by Southwest alongside co-chair Alan Bergman to discuss creativity and collaboration. This public appearance helped to broaden perceptions of D'Amaro beyond his parks experience and highlighted his growing interest in expanding Disney into the gaming industry. However, D'Amaro and Walden have previously made public appearances as part of their jobs. This isn't new, especially for Josh D'Amaro, who regularly gives Disney Park presentations at events like the D23 Expo. According to insiders familiar with Disney's succession plans, the board is focusing on internal candidates, including Walden, D'Amaro, Bergman, and ESPN chairman Jimmy Pitaro, although Pitaro has indicated he's not interested in the role and Bergman has typically been viewed as less of a contender. Walden and D'Amaro stand out as frontrunners. Though headhunters are reportedly evaluating options from outside the company, sources emphasize that no formal interviews with external candidates such as EA CEO Andrew Wilson or Mattel CEO Ian Kreese have occurred yet. Many don't consider either one a viable choice given the current issues with their companies. Electronic Arts, EA, is currently facing accusations of misleading investors. The company also came under fire for underperformance and accusations of going woke with their Dragon Age The Veilguard game. The company has also seen recent layoffs. Mattel is also in trouble, laying off 120 workers to cut costs. Hedge fund groups previously wanted American Girl and Fisher-Price sold off due to stock prices declining and stagnation. The Walt Disney Company board must have a strong justification for either of those candidates to become CEO. Disney's board is reportedly taking a cautious approach to naming a new CEO after Bob Chapek. This cautious, deliberate approach by Disney's board, led by former Morgan Stanley CEO James Gorman, aims to avoid the succession missteps of the past. Iger's previous retirement, successor reversals, and eventual return after Bob Chapek's departure created substantial turbulence within the company. Gorman, supported by fellow succession committee Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, and Calvin McDonald, CEO of Lululemon, is firmly steering the selection process. This group has covered 7 times in fiscal 2024 alone, signaling that Disney is serious about getting succession right. With Disney facing increasing competition in streaming, theme parks, and launching a new sports streaming service later this year, the next CEO will significantly influence the company's strategic direction. As Disney moves toward a critical turning point, the board is keenly aware that the next CEO decision must be the right one. The mistakes of the past cannot happen again. Yeah, that makes total sense. They have to be careful. They really bungled Chapek's succession. And quite frankly, I think it is just horrible how Chapek was treated. He was trying to steer the company away from the identity politics and the wokeism that the company was engaging with under Iger's first tenure and wanted to move back more into the entertainment business. But then they let those morons behind the Reimagine Tomorrow bully him. And as a result, it caused this kerfuffle with Florida, and they lost a big chunk of access to the government there. Disney had actually been operating their own little township, which makes no sense because why should they get special treatment versus Universal or even just the mom and pop shop up the road? But that has collapsed. If Bob Chapek had just been allowed to lead the company the way he wanted to, then I have a feeling Disney would be much more profitable. We would have seen an expansion of what was going on in Disney at the time. And that's my personal opinion. I'm not saying Bob Chapek was this great anti woke hero. He certainly wasn't, but he was definitely guiding the company more in the direction of entertainment versus political messaging. Now, Bob Iger is back and he's trying to do the same thing, but he's dealing with his own people. He put these folks in power who identify more with the political left and they aren't interested in entertaining the masses. They're interested in shoveling propaganda at the masses. And so Bob Iger has kind of started to reel things in. We've definitely seen that with how Snow White apparently was butchered in post production. Same with Captain America Brave New World. We saw this with a Pixar TV show, which was going to feature a character who was trans, and they removed that character out before the show went to Disney Plus. Now, Disney Plus has not been successful for Disney. It was early on, and when they were kind of using it more as, hey, you can watch the old stuff from the vault, but then they expanded it with ESPN, and then they are tied to Hulu, which originally Hulu was kind of co-owned by Comcast, which owns NBC, and Disney, but Comcast wanted to move away from it because they started Peacock. Well, Disney was kind of left holding the handbag there. But instead of using it as a way to put on their non-children shows and films that they acquired from their Fox acquisition, which is what Hulu was perfectly positioned to do, they just decided to mainly use it as an outlet for ABC, which ratings are in the toilet. The only thing I really watch on Hulu right now is Shifting Gears. I don't really watch anything else on there other than the occasional true crime documentary. I certainly don't watch Jimmy Kimmel. Man, that guy's unfunny. He should really have been fired a long time ago, especially after his disastrous tenure as the Oscars host. Anyway, I can go on and on about that. I do think it is interesting that they were kind of looking outside the company and looking at CEOs known for causing companies to fail and wanting to hire in-house. Really, the only thing that's making them money right now is the parks, which is why Bob Chapek was originally chosen. He came from the parks. He was a money man, and that's why he seemed to be the right person to take over from Iger. And like I said, he kind of made Iger jealous. He didn't like the way things were going, and Iger stepped back in and took back over and whatnot. And now we're kind of seeing that here. Honestly, if you're internally in Disney, why would you want that? Do you want to end up like Bob Chapek, where you're just pushed to the side when you make decisions that are inconvenient for the previous guy? As long as Iger is still around, hanging on like a barnacle, kind of like what Amy Pascal is for Sony, I don't think they're going to get someone good. If I was them, I would hire outside, but I would hire a guy who is leading his company successfully. I wouldn't hire someone from a failing company or a company that's doing poorly right now. They need to bring on someone who is solid, who is familiar at least a little bit with the entertainment industry, because that's what's going on with Warner Brothers Discovery. They brought on David Zaslav, whose big career was hosting the Home Shopping Network. I think he was like the leader of that somehow. They brought him on to be the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery when the new company bought it, and he's not doing a good job managing that. All that to say, I do think that it would behoove them to bring in someone from the outside who's smart, who's capable, who knows what they're doing, and can give new vision, because Bob Iger is facing the same thing that Michael Eisner faced, which was he was just there too long and he started to run out of ideas and he started either repeating bad ones or just variations. I mean, Mike Eisner saw the Disney Renaissance, right? He did great things at Disney, but he was just there too long, and soon he tried to tap into the direct to video market, which led to those terrible sequels to the Disney films like Lion King 1.5, which I actually kind of enjoy. Lion King 1.5, I think it's kind of funny, but like those two Cinderella sequels, Mulan 2, all these other ones that just didn't land very well. And Bob Iger, when he first came on, he was doing a good job. He brought Lucasfilm, Pixar, and 20th Century Fox and Marvel Studios all under the Disney banner, but then he didn't curate them very well. And they need someone new with fresh vision who can turn this company around. I did think it was kind of funny because the guy who's the head of ESPN is on this list. ESPN is a ratings disaster. Why would you bring him on? He's not doing a good job. They just don't think about stuff like this. Jacob, are you saying you would do a better job? Not as the Disney CEO. I think I could do a better job of running Lucasfilm and Marvel, but not maybe Disney as a whole. But if they ask me, you will be the first to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, and let me know, do you have any ideas on who the new Disney CEO would be? I would love to hear them. Let me know in the comment section below. Tell me, do you think they should bring Bob Chapek back? Should they give him another chance? I doubt they will, but I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast. And if you want to support the channel, become a channel member or head on over to my locals community. The link is in the description of the video. You can sign up for a monthly subscription or send my articles tips. If you're feeling extra generous, head to my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where you can find more news and views on all kinds of things, including film, novels, TV, anime, and so much more. You can also support me by checking out my books. They're all available on Amazon.com. Just search my name and the titles of the books. I've got Cacophony, I've got The Seven Royals, All Good Things, The Seven Royals, Breaking the Stars, and my latest novella, Blessed Child. And like I said, you can get one or all four at Amazon.com. Pick them up, leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.